You're listening to Music Tectonics.
What's up, podcast land? It's me, Crazy Pants, aka the Seismic Shifter, aka Dimitri Vitsa, the founder and CEO of Rock, Paper, Scissors, the music tech PR firm. Just like the robot says, you're listening to Music Tectonics, where we go beneath the surface of music and tech. And today we are really going to get down beneath the surface of online video and content identification and why it's important for the music industry, artists, publishers, and more. Because, dear regular listeners, it's Music Tectonics season, the time we're getting ready to do our annual conference, which is only possible thanks to some stellar people and companies. In fact, today we're joined by one of our supernova sponsors, Adrev, represented by the marvelous Jesse Worstell, who is not only the VP of Business Development at Adrev, but like a lot of the Adrev posse, he's an artist himself. He's a songwriter, a producer, goes by the name Creator Not Destroyed, a very tectonic name. Welcome to the show, Jesse.
Hey, Dimitri, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm great, and it's great to have you here. I love Adrev, has been such a great advocate, participant, supporter of the Tectonics family from the beginning when we started in 2019. But long before that, in 2012, you guys started to help musicians navigate the wilds of user-generated content monetization on YouTube. And the company continues to help rights holders collect and claim online. And you guys are moving in some new directions. We'll find out about on today's podcast. But Jesse, I'm ready to jump in right into this. Are you ready?
Let's do it, man.
So Jesse, there's the Adrev that I know as a rights management company, which helps artists and rights holders ranging from production music rights holders to publishers, and helps them identify when their music's being used online in places like YouTube, claiming their ownership to collect revenue that might otherwise go unnoticed. But for those who might not know the ins and outs of online rights monetization, how does Adrev's original business proposition work?
Yeah, so when we talk specifically about YouTube, Adrev is a rights administrator in the Content ID system. But that's YouTube's, name for this whole inner working of content protection. So basically, if you own a music copyright, whether that's a sound recording, publishing, even some audiovisual content, we ingest that into their system, and then that begins to scan all videos that are posted on YouTube. And then if we find a video using an unauthorized use of user-generated content, we claim it, and then the claim allows ads to run, and then those ads generate revenue, and then we collect that revenue and pay down to the client. So basically, you're making like YouTube royalties, for a lack of a better term, but it's also protecting your work. The example I always use, if someone puts up a cat video and it goes crazy viral, but they use your song without permission, if your song is in the system and it claims it, then the revenue goes to you instead of the uploader, which they should not be getting that money because they're using your content without permission.
But what about the cat, Jesse? What about the cat?
The cat, hopefully there are other videos on that channel that generate revenue, so the owner can, feed it, bathe it. I don't know, do you bathe cats? I have no idea.
Make t-shirts for it.
Make t-shirts for it. Create its own Instagram account, things like that.
Yeah. Gotcha. But were you going to say something else about the monetization there? I think I cut you off because I was so concerned about the cat.
It's totally fine. It's just a good way. If your music's not in the system, then chances are someone's using your music and getting money for it, and that should be going to you, obviously, as the rights owner.
Got it. Okay, cool. Excellent. So that's kind of how it works, and that's also what Adrev's role is. Is this role of claiming and collecting and keeping an eye out for where this music's getting used and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's any rights that you own, we can work with it, basically.
Gotcha. So can you give us some examples of the types of clients you have in that capacity, and maybe some examples of how you've helped them collect more money online? Specificity sometimes really helps paint the picture.
Sure. So, our bread and butter on the YouTube space is the production music world. And so, we work with APM, Warner Chappell Production Music, Fox Music, Extreme. I mean, you name it, we're working for them and kind of helping them navigate this crazy YouTube world, because it can get really, really complicated. And unfortunately, the Content ID system wasn't created with production music in mind. It's a very nuanced type of music.
Yeah, what is production music for anyone who happens to not know that term?
Sure, it's basically music that is composed to use in trailers, soundtracks, commercials, TV, radio, film. Usually it's they're shorter and they're used in needle drops, so it could be like a 10-second use, something like that. And YouTube's system was really designed for more commercial music in mind, and so when a production music library wants to monetize on YouTube, it takes a little bit of special handling. So luckily, we've been doing it for so long that we have kind of helped whittle down the process and make it a little bit more streamlined and a little easier. And obviously, there's some things that we have up our sleeve that we'll touch on later. But besides production music, we also work with labels. Cosmica Records is a great Latin label that we're working with, and all their artists. We have an independent artist, Snow the Product, who is just huge right now, and she runs everything herself, which is great. No label, no publisher. She's just all her own, and so none of her works were in YouTube. And so when we got everything in there, all these re-uploads of her videos or just music that were basically being untouched is finally being collected and paid to her. And then, with some more in-depth tech that we have, we can do a deeper dive and find kind of the diamonds in the rough of videos that are going undetected due to some limitations. And so that's, sound recording, but also publishing with covers and rearrangements and things like that. The basic YouTube system can be a little not as accurate when finding these things. And so that's where we step in and try to really fill in the gap to make sure everything's covered and nothing's slipping through.
Yeah, so you've got just the sound recordings are just getting uploaded with video, so that's one example. You've got somebody that's doing a cover song, so there's the publishing side of the royalties there, and that could probably be really tricky because the cover songs could sound extremely different, right? They could be using the lyrics and not the music, or the music and not the lyrics,
right?
Or they could change the BPM.
Yeah, they do like a samba version of like a rock song, so of course, the system's not going to find that because it's based on a melody match. And if the melody is completely different, it's not going to get, caught basically. So we do our best with our tech to find those types of things because, sometimes these covers can really take off and become really popular. And we want to make sure that the publishing revenue is being accounted for. Obviously, the person making the cover, the sound recording, that's them. And then the publishing should be going to, the publisher, writer, what have you.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine there's also like background noise with some music that would probably obscure making the matches.
Yeah, it can get a little tricky if you've got a really, someone's, I don't know, video camera has a really horrible microphone and the audio is really bad. That can go undetected if, they do try to change the BPM or the pitch, luckily that can kind of be remedied, but you'd be really surprised at what people are into. There's this thing called nightcore where they take a song and speed it up so it sounds like a chipmunk singing, and people stream this all day and they love it. But it's like a really sped up, high pitched version of the song, which I don't get it, but it's a thing.
Well, if you're doing the right kind of work and taking the right kind of drugs, man, it's probably the right pace for everything.
Sure. Yeah. You take those uppers for that, I guess.
Cool. Got it. Okay. So I've picked up that Adrev is growing out beyond these original services. Not that you're stopping them, but you're building out a more comprehensive rights management technology platform. What does the Adrev of today do differently than what we've described so far? What are the products you offer now, and who do you serve with that?
Yeah, great. 2020 was a good year for us. I mean, I know it was a really tough year overall, but a lot of exciting things happened at Adrev. The first being we purchased a company out of Bordeaux, France called Symbols. Let me spell that for you. It's SIMBALS. And these guys are brainiacs. I mean, the founder has a PhD in like music tech, related, background. And so really what it is, it's kind of a really flexible, comprehensive fingerprinting technology. And it does basically, I like to say 100% matching, but like 99.9999, so it's really, really robust, and it can find matches just like a couple seconds of use. And yes, you can use that against, YouTube detection, but it's really, you can use it in whatever capacity you want. If you want the data, we can get you the data. If you want to, use it for, QA and QC type capabilities, it can do that. It can do metadata tagging. It's really, really a great tool, and we're happy to have that in our arsenal now, because it really just helps with detection, with just cleaning up data, and just making everything a lot more easier and streamlined. And if you want to check it out, you can go to symbols.com and see just kind of everything they're doing over there. And in addition to that, we also created a tech called License Ease, which is a really flexible license verification and copyright claims management system. And this is really vital for a lot of the production music clients, because as well, they know, and maybe the general public listening doesn't know, when you license a lot of tracks, especially to brands who will then post a video on YouTube, YouTube's system doesn't differentiate between what's licensed and what's not licensed. So it's going to claim anything. And basically, it thinks it's user-generated content, but it's an official use, right? So what happens is someone buys a license, they put their video up using that song, it gets claimed. Well, this creates a lot of headaches for these production music clients, because it's almost like they're double dipping when, they shouldn't be. But it's a limitation with the Content ID system. So what License Ease does, it can auto-release these claims. It tracks the use of these videos, so you can kind of keep an eye on, hey, this client bought a license, and there's the video with the music that they used. So there's two versions. There's kind of the License Ease Lite, we call it, which is just a lot of manual. You put in links or YouTube channels to monitor, or there's a fully integrated API version, which when you tie the tech from the production music client or any client to our licensees API, it all happens automatically. It's just running constantly. So there's not a whole lot you have to do besides just like the beginning, elbow grease work, getting the two techs to talk to each other. But yeah, this is exciting for us because, YouTube's great and all, but this helps us go beyond that. It can just basically, it's tech that can be used anywhere.
So let me just see if I've got this right. Jesse, I like to kind of track the pathway of, because I think I heard it all right, but sometimes if I could kind of confirm it with you, slow it down a little bit, it helps me really, really understand what you're saying. So you may be a production library or any other kind of like catalog rights holder organization that has sound recordings and possibly publishing as well. And you license a song for use in, say, a social media ad that then gets uploaded to YouTube by somebody anywhere. So you don't want YouTube to take down that video or claim the revenue on that for some other entity or some other brand. But you also want that brand to be able to use it because they've licensed the audio, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's a big issue. I mean, it's been since day one of YouTube, and it's been a really big pain point. And we've built a solution that basically takes that away.
So License Ease will be listening to YouTube, or is tied into the Content ID system, so that when there's a question about that track, you can release the claim. You can say, no, wait, it's okay for that one to run, even though it's on somebody else's channel.
Right. Well, if it's on someone else's channel that didn't buy the license, the client will have to submit that information to us, so it can basically just the technology talks to YouTube's API and says, oh, this asset with this ID from this client for this channel has a license. So
right.
we're gonna verify.
They have to tell you which ones are verified.
Yeah, but if it's as soon as the client just gives us the information, whether that's through the manual process or through the API connections, it just hums, it runs automatically.
Gotcha.
but of course, there are going to be these oddball cases where I don't know, something isn't inputted correctly or whatever. But again, we were able to get in there and clear it, hopefully before the licensee even knows that it's been an issue. So.
Okay, let me ask you something, kind of flipping this all on its head. YouTube grew really quickly, and so when they started to see this situation where video creators were uploading content with other music incorporated in as their soundtracks, they built this content ID system you've been talking about. So music rights holders could claim their music and either get a share of ad revenue, monitor the video use, or request a takedown. But where I'm going is more and more video services have emerged. We've been talking about YouTube this whole time, ranging from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Triller, who knows what the next flavor is. Do they have systems similar to YouTube's Content ID, or how do they work?
They have systems, but they're not similar. YouTube's Content ID is really, really in depth and has a lot of moving pieces. The other platforms, they can find content being used, but it's more of like a market share kind of thing. So using a distributor, basically, that's how you can get a lot of your music into those other platforms, because it just it's a little bit more simplistic. It's not as complex and in depth as YouTube is. But yeah, if your distributor includes those platforms as a quote unquote store, then that's kind of how that works. So it's not as comprehensive. It's a little more just simple, basically.
Well, but say I'm on Facebook or Instagram and I upload a video with music that that I don't have the rights, I don't have a license for, but I'm just a guy with a video. I've got a cat video and I want it on Instagram, not YouTube. What happens with music that may not be distributed through a distributor onto Instagram, and maybe somebody else is like, hey, that's my song?
Well, it get really into the weeds because they're newer to the game. It's still it's very they have to iron out a lot of the wrinkles still, because it's like a little bit, it's not as comprehensive. So it can be really hard to hey, that's my music, I need to get paid for that. Or somebody will have the official use permissions and then they get claimed anyway. So it's kind of like this weird in the middle of the road, like, how do we navigate this? It
sounds like it's more manual than YouTube's Content ID.
Yeah.
So in the case of Content ID, their system actually is set up to make claims, to claim rights, to also request takedowns or turn on monetization and so forth. But in these other ones, if you're distributed formally and your distributor has a relationship with them, you'll be inside their equivalent of however they're identifying musical content. But people could still upload your content if you're not in those systems. And then you have kind of more of a manual, call the helpline, send an email.
Right. And, basically with symbols, again, they can basically scan those platforms, or we use fingerprinting to see what's going on in those platforms and give you that data as well.
And who is somebody currently using, like, what kind of user would use symbols for that? Is that where the social video platform would adopt some technology from symbols and almost build their own Content ID system, or are you saying like a publisher could do that, or
a publisher, a label? A lot of times it's they want to see, hey, we licensed a song to this brand, but we only let them use it for like 2 videos. And then they find out, they've been using it for 5. So we need to go back to that brand and say, hey, we noticed you use it 5 times instead of 2. Can we just renew this license? It's kind of like a license finder tool in a way too. And just, if also you just want to see, how your music's trending and how it's performing, or, like you mentioned at the top, I am a musician myself. I use these services, not any Beyonce by any means, but it is kind of fun to see, like, hey, this Russian outdoor channel used my song. Well, that's kind of cool. And it's a great video. So it's just interesting to see where your music's being used and how it's being used. And if you're more of a commercial artist, you can maybe see, what locations, your music's popping up and you're like, we should go tour there. Like, hopefully once touring is back to 100% normal. But like just info and data, and you can use it how you wish.
Got it. Very cool. Let's take a quick break and then we'll continue this awesome conversation. Want to help spread the word about Music Tectonics and win prizes? At the Music Tectonics Conference, we don't just talk about innovations in music, we want you to experience them. So we are gamifying our launch of our pre-conference and you can earn free admission. That's right. Go to musictectonics.com/conference and log in with a social account. Then the more you share the conference with your friends, the more points you earn. The top 100 point earners will get free admission to the conference. Plus, the top 3 sharers will be offered a free badge to our main conference too. Again, go to musictectonics.com/conference and look for our badge contest. Not sure you want to go to our pre-conference? What? And miss hanging out with Mark Mulligan of Media Research in the Metaverse? That's right, Mark Mulligan will be our pre-conference keynote. Plus, you'll get to witness 10 amazing early-stage music tech startups pitching in the semi-final of Swimming with Narwhals, the annual music tech startup pitch competition presented by BandLab. Get your free ticket to the October 18th pre-conference by being a top 100 sharer and enter to win a badge to our full conference October 25th through 27th. Just go to musictectonics.com/conference and look for our badge contest right now. So how does what you do at Adrev or Symbols relate to other areas beyond online video? Can you use the tech for the massive quantity of music that's getting placed on music streamers, Spotify's of the world? And if so, in what ways would you use it?
Yeah, so both Symbols and licensees are really, really flexible APIs and algorithms. And like I said, the guys at Symbols are brainiacs. Matthias, he started researching like ion audio signal analysis, and their tech team is, I mean, I sound like an idiot right now because I don't speak tech, and they are just really, really, really smart. And so you can use these to find your copyrights, how they're being used, and then like I mentioned, do the sync licensing, and that's based on basically 100% accuracy of the reporting that Symbols can provide. So really, if you want to just know where your music is, how it's being used, Symbols can run that data and find out for you and provide you with this robust knowledge that you take it and do what you want with it. Whether that's you go and do cease and desist or knock on doors and say, hey, give me my money, license this for me. It's going beyond just YouTube. It's going to wherever you think your music is being used. We can find it and tell you how it's being used.
What would be some other examples? I mean, we covered YouTube, obviously, online video, social video. I mentioned Spotify, and that's where you said, yep, it could be used that way too. But what other areas are we talking about here that it could be used for?
It's, like Spotify, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I know Vimeo has forever said we're not going to ever, monetize the platform. But if you want the data of music being on that platform, there are ways to find it. And then, again, you can't force Vimeo to pay you, but you might be able to get somebody to.
What about old world things like radio, TV, things like that?
Yeah. Symbols that's where they started. So, again, PROs are great and they help you make your money there too. But if you want to maybe do a deeper dive and present some information to your PRO and say, hey, look at all these plays I've had, or look at all these, streams or whatever. I want to give you this data so maybe you can check it against your backlog. But so yeah, old world stuff, definitely. It's funny that to me, I still listen to the radio. To call it old world is funny to me. But
sorry, dude, you're getting older.
I know. I just had a birthday. I'm getting up there.
I like the mix.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing for me is I've got a 12-year-old and a 22-year-old. So I've got two different generations to feed me music, and one of them's into the 12-year-old's into gaming, and so I get the Marshmallows and Skrillexes of the world there, and then the 22-year-old is off at college and into the indie rock thing, so I get kind of folk indie rock stuff from that direction. But I also I'll occasionally change which DSP I'm subscribed to try a different approach. Like
Sure.
like I'll be on Pandora for a while, checking out, how their radio stations work and like discover a ton of music. And then after a while, I'm like, it's starting to sound kind of similar. And then I'll jump back over to Spotify. And then of course, YouTube is just like, crazy jukebox there. But
Yeah.
but I also listen to the radio is what I'm trying to say. We've got a college radio station, and some semesters there's somebody there that's pumping out some crazy cool new stuff that I'm just like, wow, I wouldn't have heard this anywhere else. So
I love it. Yeah, I kind of live and die by my like weekly new music mixes from the different DSPs. Like, I never thought I was that guy that was just stuck listening to the same 3 CDs, and then here I am. I mean, I do think working behind the scenes in the music industry, when you get just exposed to everything else, it makes you want to just research and find new stuff. So I've been way more open-minded and open-eared since I've started here, which is a great benefit of working here as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so we go from old world. It's time for us to get super sci-fi, Jesse. This is the part of the show where we want to get push into the future. What are some cool or outrageous things you'd like to see in the futuristic music industry? Doesn't have to be related to anything we were talking about, but it could be, but it doesn't have to be.
Sure, I'll start with the related aspect. I mean, I would love to see a world where Adrev is the one-stop shop. It's the dashboard for everything. You come in and you just see everything going on. You don't have to go anywhere else. And that's it. You're done. That's all you got to do. I mean, this isn't super sci-fi, but I miss going to concerts, and I don't know. If we're going to have to be like remote for a bit more, or half remote, half in real world, I'm not sure. I don't know. It'd be cool to have some kind of like VR virtual concert experience, right? Because I think in the future, I mean, I'm a gamer too. You mentioned one of your kids is a gamer. I've really gotten into that since the world shut down, basically. And so I have this little gaming community that I meet up with every weekend, and we play games online. They're from all over the world. But I do think eventually everyone's going to have a VR room. It's going to be like the game room. And it would be so cool to have like some kind of virtual concert experience where you just, if it's like the Live Aid, another Live Aid happens in Europe or Africa or something, you could be there virtually. I think that would be great. That would be really, I mean, I'd really
excited. It's so very
about
coming, Jesse. It's just like, it's like centimeters away from stuff. I mean, there's people who are playing with it. So the trick is to have enough of it so you know which virtual space to adopt, which hardware or not hardware or whatever. And it'll be really interesting to see when this total explosion of live streaming that feels like a facsimile of a concert experience starts to merge more and more with what you're describing, where it just feels more immersive, where I mean, we're talking to people who are doing all sorts of stuff.
Sure.
And the trick is to figure out how to lock into it for yourself with the music you like, the vibe you like, the community you like, and the technology that you're used to using, or stretch yourself to the next thing.
I just thought about this too. I mean, it's sci-fi, but also old school. What if you could also go back and walk into a virtual, like an old concert, like an old Beatles show or something? One. Yeah. Oh man. Or like a Led Zeppelin gig or something. Oh man, that would be really cool. I think that'd be fun. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the the 3D printer equivalent of smells.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what if you could also like throw in the smells, like people sweat, maybe there's a purple haze in the air, some
old beer, some ganja, whatever it is.
Cigarette smoke just hovering everywhere. Oh, that'd be great.
I mean, I'm sure we'll get there somehow. I don't know whether it'll be with an actual 3D printer of sense, or whether it'll be the Elon Musk chip in your head that makes you think you're smelling.
Oh boy. It's coming.
Yeah. Are there other like interesting kind of trends in the music tech space or companies? Anything else that you've come across recently that you're excited about?
Yeah. The licensing game is getting really interesting. Adrev has a company called Audio Micro, and that was kind of pre-Adrev, where it sells micro licensing to YouTubers, TV, film, radio, theater. That is becoming a huge thing. You're seeing companies like Artlist and these others that are really doing well. And I think that's going to be the next kind of licensing has always been there, but this kind of licensing, I think, is going to be the next big thing, and how to navigate these online platforms with it too.
What are the industry categories that are really adopting licensing for the first time? I mean, are we talking about ads on social media, or are we talking about creators who want licensing? Are we talking about podcasts, or is it just like commercial videographers doing it for their corporate or wedding videos? Where do you see the growth areas right now?
I think all of them, to be honest. I mean, we live in an ad served world. I've got I don't have cable, but I have YouTube TV, and I swear to God, they serve me ads of everything I Google. Like, I see the same ads over and over and over, and I'm like, I know they do that, through your computer or whatever, but I think they're doing it on my TV now. So, yeah, social media influencers, ad companies, brands. There's so much ads, so many ads, and so they need music for these ads or whatever. And just like TV shows, there's so many TV channels and so many series and things like that. It's just, there's just a need for it, apparently, because we're just seeing people wanting, I need music. I need more music. I need more choices. I want this, that, the other thing. So I think it's kind of, a wide array of people who need this music.
Yeah, I got you. It's just the continued switch to video, going from banner ads and television to just micro uses across the internet, apps everywhere where people are licensing it. And maybe also because those systems are in place now where people get that licensing. It's better to license these micro, smaller sync licenses than to only hope for the big Hollywood syncs of the previous era.
Right. And on the creator side too, not only are there more brands and more there's just more content, there's more creators too. So it's kind of like, the supply and demand are both rising at the same time.
Oh yeah. While I've got you, because of your expertise on music monetization and video, I want to ask one more question, which is I've got this perspective that streaming is looking like, at least in the US and soon after probably in a lot of other territories, is kind of plateauing in terms of, how many paying subscribers are going to be out there. And then maybe from there, maybe we'll see subscriptions go up, as people are used to the idea of paying or whatever. But I've got this sense that there's still untapped potential for the use of music in social video. I mean, YouTube is one platform, but there's, obviously there's TikTok and so forth. They're monetized differently, they're tracked differently, but it feels like with several different platforms, even Twitch, there's several different platforms where you see a lot of growth. People are spending more time there. There's, as you said, way more creators there. They all are putting music, using music somehow, or wanting music, whether they're licensing it or whether there's some sort of content identification that leads to revenue shares, or whether the platform itself is doing some licensing. It feels like that's going to continue to be a growth area. How big of a growth area is that? I mean, are we looking at a whole other doubling of how much revenue is coming in? I mean, Spotify's not, the streaming services are not paying that much per stream, but and so people say, well, the social video is not that much per stream, but collectively, I mean, it's getting global. There's more and more creators, there's more and more viewers. People are getting more and more used to this. Is that going to grow to be like another one of these like skyrockets of the music industry?
That's a great question. I love streaming. I know there are certain people that will like beat me up for saying that, just based on how some of the writers and the artists, the payouts aren't fair, which I agree with that too. But it's kind of like, the lesser of two evils. I mean, I want to use this so I can listen to music and enjoy it, but I also I feel bad that, they're not paying people as much as they should. If certain legislation and things happen where these services then can pay more to artists and writers, I feel like, I don't know, maybe that might shoot it up a bit, but I don't know. It's like the next tech has to come through, and it's like moving from VHS to Blu-ray. There's going to have to be the next thing. Because I think we're kind of like we're here. Like this is the world as we know it. What's the next media or medium that's going to come through? How we ingest music and listen to it and discover it. I don't know. I have friends who are cheapskates and they don't pay for any type of streaming services. They do the ad-based version, which, okay, fine. But for me, it's such an important part of my day listening to music that I'll pay the money to not have those ads and also build my own playlists and listen to whatever I want and not have to be interrupted, So I don't know. You also look at the teenagers and the early 20-somethings who are probably the heaviest consumers of these things. Are they paying subscription fees? I doubt it. I don't know. Maybe as that generation gets older and they have more money in their pockets, who knows? I mean, yeah, I think it's whatever the next thing is, that there's got to be something new coming along eventually that's going to probably, either outperform streaming or I don't know, will streaming ever go away? I have no idea. What's the next
crazy
thing?
to think about. But you don't think the use of music in social media platforms is going to create very big of a kind of an overall revenue stream for the music space?
I think so. I think go back to the licensing thing as you get more creators, whether that's YouTube video creators or TikTokers, and then also music creators. It's going to be this happy marriage. I think just based on what we're seeing and what we're thinking about as far as licensing goes, I think in the next 5 years, we might see a trend upwards with the use of the music and also the licensing of the music.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So this has been great geeking out with you. It's a lot of what Music Tectonics feels like when you come to the conference, whether it's online or the in-person component. We're doing both this year, hybrid event. You choose your own adventure, guys. You can be online in the metaverse or on a carousel by the ocean by the Santa Monica Pier. We are renting it out, people. It's going to be a blast. But there's a little bit of geeking out. We geek out on the panels. We get to know friends, old friends, new friends, talking about these things, the sci-fi future of music tech, or getting into the weeds. Like, people are willing and interested in finding out about how this works for artists and rights holders and how it works for technology platforms and where that marriage is. But I'm curious, before we let you go, Jesse, what are you and the Adrev team hoping to get out of attending Music Tectonics this year?
Well, we really just want to be around people and people like-minded like us. So, new friends, old friends. So, meeting some new peeps, and just letting everybody know about our tech and how we really want to use it to, it's going to sound kind of morose, but to stop the suffering and stop the pain of all the trials and tribulations you have to go through with these platforms, and really just bringing more awareness to the value that artists and creators and musicians provide, both economically and socially, and just really be proud of what we do for them. And like I always say, I'm really proud of what Adrev does, but also what I do, because I'm an artist advocating for my fellow artists. And I love that. And I say it all the time. So I'm really proud of that.
That's awesome. That's very in line with what I've heard from others at Adrev. So it's cool you found your tribe there, and you guys are using tech to kind of expand out. In fact, I think we're looking at some programming that will really be about how tech can be used for the greater good for artists and so forth, which will be super fun. It's been great having you on the show, Jesse. I'm psyched to see you online in the metaverse and in LA. Stay safe, and we'll see you at Tectonics.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you.
Who will you meet at Music Tectonics? Our annual conference is known for bringing people together from across the music tech landscape to share ideas and get business done. In 2021, we're bringing together a slate of speakers at the cutting edge of tech for recorded music, live music, and music making. You'll hear from Tracy Chan, head of music at Twitch, the live stream platform built for gamers, now home to many artists who stream live shows to their adoring fans. Mark Mulligan, Managing Director of Media Research and everyone's favorite music tech seismologist. Marisol Siegel, Head of Digital Partnerships at AEG Presents. Will Page, the former Chief Economist at Spotify and author of Tarzan Economics. Dina LaPolte, top music industry lawyer, David Pelham, royalties at Concord, and many, many more music tech movers and shakers. Get your ticket to join them at the online conference October 25th through 27th at musictectonics.com. That same ticket gets you access to in-person networking by the sea in the Los Angeles area on November 2nd. Do not miss this.
Thanks for listening to Music Tectonics. If you like what you hear, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We have new episodes for you every week. Did you know you can dig deeper into all our episodes with the show notes at musictectonics.com. While you're there, look for the latest about our annual conference, sign up for our newsletter to get updates, or get the Music Tectonics app for music tech news. Everything we do explores seismic shifts that shake up music and technology the way the Earth's tectonic plates cause quakes and make mountains. Connect with Music Tectonics on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and find me, Dmitry Vitsa, if you can spell it, on LinkedIn. Bye-bye!
You're listening to Music Tectonics.